Hello and welcome to The Resource, the podcast propelling employer brands to recruit smarter and retain better. I'm your host, Priscilla Peters.
And I'm your other host, Scott Dismuke. And Priscilla, we are officially in 2026. Happy New Year. Hope your holidays went well.
They did. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Here we are. Listen, I was talking to somebody the other day. I remember thinking, how would I still be alive in 2025? Which, let's be real, I barely did survive 2025. No, I'm just kidding.
I think we all barely survived.
Can you believe it's 2026? Like, what? It's crazy to think about that.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of so I tell on myself here a little bit. So 2026 is a big year for me. So I turned the big 5-0 in June.
Oh, when is that? When is your B-Day? You don't have to say the actual day. What month is it?
Oh, I don't care. It's June 9th.
Oh, that's right. We're both June birthdays.
Yeah, June 9th. I turned 50, and then in March, the wife and I celebrate 25 years.
Okay,
I actually have somebody that has stuck with me for 25 years. Can you imagine that?
That is a Christmas miracle. Should we sing Hey Santa in honor of that?
So you have to tell everybody what I did on Christmas morning. What did I do? Remember, I sent you a text.
Oh, God,
Christmas morning.
Oh yes. Well, wait, what was it? You did send me.
I sent you a text with the Hey Santa Christmas song attached to it.
You did, and I was asking around. That is not a well-known Christmas song.
Well, if you listen to it, I was
not out of line with that.
If you listen to it, you will know why it's not a well-known Christmas song, because it's crap.
Well,
frankly.
So if you're wondering what we're talking about, we'll put a link to the last episode in the show notes. But we had
we had a little discussion. And then we put it out. Sydney put it out on social, the clip of it, both on the Conversion and on the PDA social. And I actually had more comments about that little clip of discussion that we had about Hey Santa. I think what we learned is people like when we argue.
Yeah, I got text messages, Teams messages from people I work with weighing in. There were some on your side of the fence, some on mine. Okay. Like, what is happening? We don't know. We know Wilson Phillips in a whole different light than that. Okay.
Well, here's what I did learn. I have to at least cover a little bit. It's actually not Wilson Phillips. It's two of the girls. It's two of the sisters from Wilson Phillips.
Okay.
Here's so we have another clip coming. I have a feeling, but here's what. So my wife listened to the podcast and she got a good kick out of it. But when I said that, she was like, "Well, it's not a Wilson Phillips song. It's just the two of the sisters from Wilson Phillips." So I at least had to correct myself.
You stand corrected, okay? You stand corrected.
Listen, I've been married for 25 years. I have stood corrected a lot in 25 years.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, Happy New Year. I'm super excited about the new year. And I think we've got some great stuff planned for the podcast. I'm really excited about that. Today, we're kind of kicking that off here in just a minute. And I think it's going to be a good year. So you want to kind of dive into letting our guests join us for today?
Yeah. So we haven't done this in a while because we've had some special podcasts over the last bit. So obviously we have a tradition that on the resource, we usually start every episode, except for the last few, with two must, he tried to say.
We can't talk in 2026 either.
Yeah,
Can't.
I know. We can keep that for the blooper clip too. But data points and resources that will help keep you ahead of the curve in recruiting and retention. So Priscilla, what insights do you have to start 2026 off with?
Yes. And I have a feeling one of our guests today is going to be talking a little bit about this, but one of the things that we are following very closely, and I think we talked about it just a little bit at the end of last year, but is really how driver search and how that's evolving coming out of the new year. So in 2024, just so you know, it was like less than 1% of job searches were done in GPTs in 2024. By the end of last year, so now in January of this year, that number has already jumped 10%. That means 10% of job searches are currently being done outside of your traditional Google, Indeed, your what you would think of as traditional ways that drivers search online. 10% are happening now through GPTs. So kind of begs the question, are all of your digital assets optimized for GPTs and what we call GPTO? So that's going to get really interesting, I think, this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just my use of ChatGPT has increased by more than 10%, really in the last 3 months. So
Yeah, me
I
too.
totally
Yeah.
understand it. So I'm kind of going a little more old school back to some of the things that we see from our data, from my data point. So, a lot of times when we do this, I've talked equipment, I talk compensation, all of those things are still obviously very, very important. But one of the things in looking at our Q4 data, as I was reviewing that the first part of this week, operations issues were the only major category to increase quarter over quarter. So from Q3 to Q4 in 2025. So operational execution and communication challenges were a real critical retention factor in Q4. As equipment and compensation issues kind of stabilized in Q4, the operational execution and communication really emerged as an important catalyst for retention risk that we saw. And a lot of that, frankly, has to do obviously with communication, but it also has to do with really drivers still searching for predictability when it comes to miles. I mean, that if anything, the theme for 2025 with retention data was predictability as it relates to miles and pay. But a lot of drivers, I know they understand kind of what we've been going through the last 3, now going into 4 years. Hopefully that's coming to an end. There's some promising signs out there. But this is kind of really the first time we've seen a pretty decent increase in operational issues that have really kind of affected. We a lot of times see how equipment affects miles, but we really saw in Q4 drivers kind of saying, okay, well, how operations is planning me or not planning me, and their lack of communication, either to a phone call that I made to them or to at least kind of inform me about what's going on and why I'm being planned the way I'm planned. We really saw that impact retention in Q4 like we haven't seen previously. So that's kind of my little data point
Yeah, no,
for this.
that's really interesting. That's good stuff. Okay, all right. Look at me. I almost skipped right over the
Yeah,
resource part of it.
the resource. We call it the
I know
resource.
it's a new year. I'm an amateur. I got to get
Yeah,
back in
we're
the
just
swing
getting
of
back into the
things.
swing of things. We'll be fine by next month, right?
Yes, yes. All right. Well, let's dive into. We actually have 2 guests today, so this is going to
2.
be a fun episode. So let's dive into our interview with our first guest. All right. Well, Scott, we have a real treat today. Joining us on the podcast today is best-selling author and world-renowned speaker, Frankie Russo. He is also going to be one of our keynote speakers at the upcoming Recruitment and Retention Conference. Y'all aren't even ready for Frankie. Let me just tell you. Welcome to the show, Frankie. We're excited you're here.
All right. Thanks so much. I can't wait to hear what I have to say after all that.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Listen, we really do vet out our keynotes for Recruitment and Retention Conference. Like it's no joke. I know we were kind of talking a little bit about that before we started recording, but we're excited. I know that's what a lot of people look forward to, is just seeing kind of someone come in with a fresh perspective about recruiting and retention. And specifically this year, you're going to be talking to us about AI, like, AI. But give us a little bit about your background. What's your background, and tell us kind of what you do.
Okay. I never know where to start, so I'll just do a quick overview. When I was a kid, I were in homeless shelters with my parents. So there's a little twist. So it wasn't like an entrepreneur kid. I was a nonprofit mission kid. As I got older, that kind of shifted. I got into some early industries that ended up vanishing. One was the mortgage business back in the early 2000s, before the '08 crisis. That went up in a dumpster fire in '08. I also got sober from drugs and alcohol that year. Wife left me. It was a hell of a year. That was '08. Kind of lost everything. Then I got into some more profitable stuff. I started a company, my little brother, called Potenza. It was we called it a make-believe company because we would make everyone believe that we had a great company and then make the community believe that our clients were worth a damn. So we had a make-believe company for Potenza. It was Italian for power. It was really a glorified ad agency, honestly, which is ironic. And eventually, over time, I got to this place where we realized there were so many things that needed to be solved in that space of marketing. We were working with broadcasters, a lot of different industries, automotive, things like that. And there were so many things that needed to be solved that it did not make sense to be solved by humans, or it couldn't be solved by humans. So in 2012, I made this like crazy jump into the tech space, not being anyone from, not having any kind of tech background, software, anything like that. Ended up buying a company that built software, going to India to start a company. And ipso facto, between Potenza and then this other company, 360IA, we were some of the fastest growing companies in America. And we grew 60x in 3 years with this early AI machine learning company named 360IA, which then resulted in a sale to a Fortune 500 in 2021. And now I have 6 kids. I'm on my second marriage, so full family. Travel around doing keynotes, and in my spare time, I vibe code full stacks of software. In fact, in the last 30 days, I rebuilt my entire company with no employees using just AI, but we can get into that later.
Okay. I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, it was an interesting holiday.
I bet. It sounds like it.
My wife was like, what are you doing?
Well, I didn't know we had this in common, Frankie, but I am the mother of a blended family of 6.
Let's go. Oh my God.
We can talk later.
Yeah,
no,
we got a lot to talk about.
We only have one left at home, though. I'm way over.
Okay, that's good because I have all of them right now. So it's like we got the lucky weird house. Oh yeah,
we can talk. We could talk later. So okay, well, we're excited to number one. We're excited to kind of meet you face to face and see you at the upcoming Recruitment and Retention Conference. And we're excited today to just kind of pick your brain and get a little teaser about maybe some of the stuff you're going to be talking to us about. So, but before we do that,
okay,
I'd like to dive into what we call our final mile first 5. These are very serious questions that seriously do not matter. Okay.
You send me these in advance?
No. We don't send these. No, these are the fun questions.
Okay, I'm getting nervous now.
And after hearing that you just rebuilt your company on AI over the last 30 days and you're going to hear these questions, you're going to be like, what have I gotten myself into? I mean, that's really where we're going here.
I love it. Okay, let's go. Let me surprise you.
Okay, so, and there's 5, and we just final mile first 5, so we just fly through them, okay? Number 1 is Priscilla. Listen, I'm very professional. I'm the one asking this question. It's a new year. Thanks, Scott. We're gonna, just so you know, we're gonna leave that in just so everybody can.
Sometimes the AI doesn't really know when they're making the questions for you.
Okay. It says, if you could time travel, would you want to visit the past or the future?
Oh, that's awesome. Definitely the future. It's always good. Yeah, fun fact, I started attempting time travel around 5 or 6 years old. And when I found out, first of all, time travel is only possible forward. I don't know if you know this. 186,000 miles per second. If you can somehow travel that, which the human body can't really take, and I haven't figured out how you would build the vehicle. But if you could travel 186,000 miles per second, which is the speed of light, you actually would go through time. Time would pass slower for you than others. If you could do that for 20 minutes, you might get 3 to 4 years into the future.
Scott is, look at his wheels. Just look. The nerd factor of Dismuke right now is going crazy.
So we've kind of asked each other this question before. We've asked maybe some other guests this question before. Never have we gotten that kind of a great detailed response. Usually it's just very shallow. Yeah, I'd go back in time and do this. That's by far the best
1,000,000% the future, and I'm open-minded to where it would land based on just the probability of how it works. But yeah, Scott, imagine a 6-year-old version of Frankie telling you that.
Listen, we need to have a separate podcast just talking about that. That would be amazing.
Well, I can tell you there's the theme of 6-year-olds and being weird and having those kind of like crazy thoughts, and that the connection and relationship of that to your genius may or may not come up on our keynote session.
Okay.
So, okay.
Okay.
And when
There
I
you go.
say
There's
may not,
nice teaser.
it definitely is going to show up.
Nice teaser.
Yeah,
so
that's the twist we'll get into later.
So we're going from time travel now to find out what is the most used app on your phone.
Ooh, that's a good one. Shoot. Let me think. It's been shifting lately. Okay, so to be honest, it's probably Chrome. It is likely the most used, only because I'm vibe coding the front end of my software with Lovable, and Lovable doesn't have an iOS app. So when I'm taking breaks or I'm on the phone, I'm usually adding features, going back and forth on different types of APIs and structure, and then getting feedback that then goes to Claude. So it's either Claude, Chat, or Chrome. Lately, I've been really pissed off at Chat just because it's like can be such an asshole when it comes to hallucination sometimes, and in some ways, hallucination is really great. And so you have to know what to use these friends for. So yeah, I would say Chrome, but it would be maybe Lovable if it had an app, and then Claude and Chat. But they're two different things. Like Chat's for like all the stupid stuff, and Claude's for like I need something real. I know that's I kind of rank that. That's my top three.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, here's the next one. And we're going to a totally different lane now. What is your guilty pleasure TV show or movie?
Oh, nice. Shoot. Guilty pleasure? It's not like just your favorite show. It's a guilty pleasure. Oh man, obviously we just finished Stranger Things, which was awesome. They did a great job. Guilty pleasure? Is that a show I watch without my wife? Is that what that means? What is guilty pleasure?
Maybe, or like a show you might be embarrassed to admit that you watch.
Huh.
Like,
okay.
Like for me, it would be. I used to have a real fascination with the Housewives, and we've broken up, but I secretly, if I could just had a month to sit and catch up, I would. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, yeah. So I watch a lot of Housewives, but not because I want to. So Bravo in general is like created in a lab to change the way men's DNA is structured, like just the Only by Bravo, like the sound of it, the frequencies. It's designed to mind control men in a way that's really intense. But I find myself having to watch it to show love to my wife, like a love language.
Very smart move.
There's
smart
a
move.
sixth love language, if you know about like the 5 love languages, and the sixth one is something to do with Bravo. Or The Bachelor. You can like kind of like draw a dotted line to The Bachelor, I guess, but
you can. You absolutely can.
Okay, but that is not my guilty pleasure. That is my guilty like
sacrifice.
Okay. Dadgummit, I can't think of anything clever for you. I mostly like, action movies. Like there's certain people that like I'll watch over and over again. Just if they're in it, I'm like, yes, this is going to happen. Liam Neeson or Nicolas Cage, or they're not even that good actors anymore, but you're dedicated.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Keanu Reeves, perfect example. But I think the dumbest show I've watched is the robot one. There's a robot one, Murder Robot or Murderbot on Apple TV.
Oh wait, I've seen it come across.
It's terrible, but like,
you did. Did. Yeah.
There's better examples. But you caught me
okay. No worries. No worries.
So here's another one. So we've already kind of hit the time travel one here, but if you could attend any concert, past or present, which one would it be? Oh, great answer.
No, there was no delay in that. Just so everybody knows, he went right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No need to finish, brother.
I think that's great. I love it. Okay, last one. What's a hobby you've always wanted to try, but you never have?
Ultralight piloting.
Oh, wait, what? I don't know what that is, I don't think.
So I would have said piloting, but I've done that hobby of a regular airplane. So an ultralight is like they fly low, 500, 1,000 feet. They've got a propeller behind you, it looks like basically a go-kart, and then it has wings. You've seen them. Yeah, an ultralight. Yeah. Yeah. But I am really looking forward to 2029, 2030. We should have 2 to 4 seater, like ride-in drone flying cars. And so I am really looking forward to that. That's been something of all the disappointments from Back to the Future, Scott. That's been the one. It's like, it's 2015. I was talking to my dad about this week, and it's really disappointing. Hollywood has such a good track record of kind of predicting the future, but I mean, they got this so wrong. It's 2025. There's no flying cars. It's probably the thing I look back at the last couple of years and I'm the most disappointed.
Very seldom do we finish the first 5 where I feel lesser of a person. And this is this one does. I mean, if you go back and you listen to his,
that's a compliment.
Okay. No, it's absolutely a compliment because I mean, if you go back and listen, I mean, those are the most in-depth, great answers that we've had on the first 5 probably since we started doing this. And and I usually
I'll take it.
I mean, it's amazing. Those are very good answers,
Right,
particularly the
for the whole
Queen.
year.
Particularly the Queen. Yeah, to start the year with those answers, like it can only go downhill from here. So whoever we have on coming up in our next podcast has quite a bit to live up to.
It's the bar.
Yeah, Scott, I feel like y'all are going to hang out. Like y'all have, I mean, honestly, we could talk Bravo. Don't get me wrong, Frankie, but I'm just saying you and Scott are probably going to have y'all are going to hang out while you're in Nashville. I can guarantee it. So, yes. Well, we appreciate you answering the final mile first 5. We're going to kind of dive into some of the real meat and potatoes of why we're really here today. The first thing that we wanted to kind of pick your brain on is, here's the thing. Many carriers, trucking companies in the industry, they still view AI as, oh, I'm going to try that someday, or I'm using, I go into ChatGPT, like you said, like for the things, the everyday kind of things. But what do you think separates companies that successfully turn AI into like a real competitive advantage in recruiting and retention versus those who don't? Like, just kind of maybe lay that out for us.
All right. So I went back and forth on if I wanted to answer these like super technical, and I don't want to answer them super technical. That's where y'all come in. I could answer them super technical and I could read from ChatGPT and tell you exactly what to do. So if you're looking for a technical answer, please go to ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, DeepSeek, Manus, or Grok, or whatever your favorite LLM is to get that answer. How about that? So I want to take a step back on this because the fact is this industry is unique and not unique. What's unique about it is that it feels like one that's not going to get disrupted. It feels like a industry that has a lot of time before it's affected because nobody wants a driverless 18-wheeler or hotshot driver and all this other stuff, right? So we're thinking, we're good on that. And whether we're good on that or not is not really the part I'm looking at for 2026. I think we're good for 26. I think from a recruitment standpoint and like, the area that y'all are focused on, there's a lot of automation and things that could be good that might negatively affect the drivers. And so instead of looking at like that end result, you got to look at, okay, what's happening now? So the best way to approach AI right now is a couple things. Number one, you have to ask yourself, what do you hate about your job? That's the first question you should ask yourself. What do I hate about my job? Or what is the pain point I just keep not being able to solve? That's what I would look at first as an individual. Like whoever I am, if you're listening, that's what as an individual I look at. Then I start looking outward towards my team or my organization. And then from there, I'm going to look at the customer. But from a team organization, what I look at, where consistently do I have great employees burning out? Where consistently are people not have enough bandwidth? They consistently feel like they've got a list and they can never get it done, which is a physical drain, an emotional drain, and absolutely a performance drain. But most important part about separating the fleet companies that have AI or don't are the ones that deeply understand the problem they're trying to solve internally. Like we're so focused on the external job that we can miss this other piece that can set us apart. You see, a great company is a company that the people that are in there that are there for a reason. I call it their like unique genius, which can turn into a collective. That unique genius, AI's job is to do two things: clear clutter and take away all the crap that like humans are not really built to do, but then go beyond that and multiply. So basically turn AI into a multiplier of the genius.
This is what we're saying as well. And in many cases, we have a lot of carriers that they don't really know where to start. And having partners that do, I think is really helpful. Like for us to be like, for example, like you mentioned, like understanding what the pain point is, understanding all the things. Like we know that the pain points are, I need more full applications. I need to decrease my cost per hire. I need to have just meaningful conversations with drivers, not drivers that are unqualified, but meaningful. And so who are the partners and the people that have the tech that I need to help me make that happen? And I think part of it, like fundamentally what you were saying is understanding your problem and then not sitting around waiting on like somebody else to solve it. Go partner with someone that has, or go, like I think there's a lot of different ways to look at it. And it
Or
seems like,
build a piece of it and
yeah,
make your partner integrate to it. Like this, the world is shifting radically. And so like our role in like the roadmap, like, so for people listening, if they're a client of your company, for example, like their role in the roadmap is going to shift over the next 18 months dramatically, because they're going to build their own prototypes that then you will see and be like, wow, we should bring this in. And figuring out ways to bring their prototypes into your world and making it all work is definitely something that should be thought about right now. But the other thing is that is going even more granular. Like I want people to think on the big stuff. Like I want more, if you want more opportunities, like you want more opportunities to talk to the right people, then call your company. What I'm talking about is like, okay, call you, but like what else can I do individually for my daily workflow? Like I think about that a lot because that's where people are the most drained. Companies are having to like cramp down. They have less employees. There's so much pressure. There's so much to do. That part of it is the part that I think can't be outsourced. So yes, to your point, outsource the opportunities to your company and or partners like yourself. But then you're still left with like, man, what do I do with all this? Priscilla, can you help me with this? Well, no, I really can't, but actually we can, but in a different way. We're going to help them with by showing them how to remix their own tools and build their own solutions for their little world that allows their genius to be multiplied.
yeah, for sure. Cool.
So you kind of touched on some of this, Frankie. So maybe I'd like you to expand a little bit on this, but how have you seen organizations leverage AI to become kind of an edge for them in both hiring and retaining talent?
Yeah, so I think it's a sum total of the whole, to be honest. Like I think we're all looking for a silver bullet, but it's the sum total of the whole. So you got to think about what is the thing that makes retention and talent stick, and that's trust, that's relationship, that's like feeling like this is not a commodity, right? Feeling like this is more than just something I would read on the website or ask ChatGPT or Claude to tell me about it. Okay, so it goes back to, Scott, like the companies that prioritize that and have used AI to free that up. It's about making a single purpose the hero. That's really what the process that I'm going to be talking about with y'all in a month, and the process that I use for my own companies and have installed at lots of other companies. It's a simple process where you're getting honest about the problem. You're willing to imagine a new solution, spend the energy to be curious about a new solution that hasn't been done yet, and then you're willing to collaborate without boundaries, meaning you're breaking protocols. You're going outside of silos. You're willing to do things that are serving a singleness and purpose, regardless of what the paperwork says. These are the companies that it creates a loop. I call it the infinity growth loop. That loop is the rhythm for the type of transformation we're talking about. We're talking about a fairly radical transformation. What most people want to do with this is think of it as just an update. It's a new Microsoft tool. It's a new Word tool. It's just a new tool. And that's where a lot of people are going to get left behind, Scott, because they're thinking of this as a tool when it's, if anything, it's more like a species than a tool. And we can get into my views on Terminator as well, Scott, here in a moment. But Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like the human is still has emotional intelligence, has the ability to build these relationships, has the ability to make certain types of judgment and connect. Like, okay, cool. We already know what the machines can't do, at least not right now. So let's triple down on that.
Yep.
And then let's go. We got to get the machines doing the stuff. So if we aren't getting the machines to do that stuff and we're still doing everything by hand, the other companies are going to come in, create that space where like, it'll be like phenomenal how much they can relate to people, how much they can connect with people, how much they can build trust with people. And their people aren't burnt out. They're not adding a lot of people, but they're adding money and clients. It's like, that's how this
Yeah.
is going to start to transition.
Well, and I'm really kind of glad to hear you say that, just from the simple fact. So obviously Priscilla handles a lot of the recruiting side of things, and we do at PDA the retention side of things, and a lot of what we do is personal touch as far as the relationship side, like you mentioned. So we're literally on the phone with drivers every single day. But what we're doing from an AI standpoint and implementing AI is not to replace the personal touch. It's not to replace the communication and the one-on-one. What we're using AI for is for the process of collecting data, the process
signals. That's right.
of all of those things. And to your point, I think whether a company wants to use our services or they want to do it themselves, to free up the time to have those personal one-on-one interactions from a retention standpoint and using the AI for the process of it, I think is what at least we see AI doing from the retention side of things.
100%. Yeah. And you nailed it. And I think that people need to be thinking of AI more as like a signal or more of like an interpreter or a translator or, an analysis. That's where AI is incredible. That's the time strain, the energy drain that is what takes away from most of us. What we really love is that human connection. Like, not everybody, some people like to just stay in the corner and do analyst work. But I think a lot of people in your business, like they like to connect with that. They want the driver to feel that. The driver needs to feel trust. They're out on the road. They're in the middle of nowhere. It's like, it might, for young drivers, they think, cool. They're just looking at the number. How much am I getting? And what's the pin drop? Give me the pin drop. How much am I getting? Let's go.
Yep.
But like, if you've done this long enough, drivers start to realize, the relationship I have with these companies makes a huge difference. And they stay because of Susan or because of Mike or because of Steve or because of, dare I say, Karen.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I think, and you touched on this a lot in the last few minutes here, but I think this whole idea of there's maybe we call it a myth or a misconception that AI is impersonal. But I think the point you're trying to make, and correct me if I'm wrong here, is that let AI take care of the mundane, the process improvement, the automation, and let the humans take care of the meaningful stuff and the connection. Because I just think, like, from a carrier standpoint, if I'm a trucking company and I want to incorporate AI, and some people give pushback and say, oh no, that's just going to deteriorate our connection with the drivers. I don't think that's true. So what's your take on that?
Listen, my take on this is super simple. First of all, if you do AI right, it's actually very personal, but maybe a little too personal. I don't know. Priscilla, I haven't seen your chat after midnight, but I'm going to guess your AI is real personal. Anyway, yeah, no, listen, AI, listen, this is not rocket science. Look at the jobs that are going away. Okay. It's, some graphic designers have lost some jobs, but like the real jobs going away that shocked the hell out of me and most moms across America that paid a bunch of money to get their kid to go to engineering school is software developers. And it's blowing my mind because the one thing I could do everything in my company. Okay. My old company, I could do everything except that. I couldn't do software development. I didn't understand it. So what was it? Black magic. And so you throw all this money at it. I practically worked for them. I would have done anything to get them to get my features out to make my clients happy. Sound familiar? Okay. So this is like, why can't you just make this button work? And so when I get no talk back and the software developers are building it, and I used to text and drive. Now I vibe code and drive because I'm just a madman. But anyway, that's what you want to do, Priscilla, is use, instead of thinking of AI as like, oh, it's going to be this automated email thing, or it's going to be this thing that just communicates. And now we don't have to like worry about responding to people. If that's how you're thinking, delete that. Control Alt Delete, like put that in the dumpster fire, because that right there is not what AI is. What AI's most important language is not English, it's code. And so what we have to be thinking about, I'm going to go full circle here. So some of y'all remember Sean Connery. You know who that is, Priscilla? I know Scott does. Priscilla, who is Sean Connery?
You mean Sean Connery? Like the actor?
No. John Connor. No, John Connor.
John, yeah.
John Connor, not Sean Connery.
I don't know John Connor. Do I? No.
Scott,
I'm older than
who
Scott.
is John
though.
Connor, Scott?
So, well, I may is that a Terminator reference?
Yes.
Is John Connor Terminator? Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
so
I saw Terminator, but I don't know.
listen,
I don't remember.
Priscilla, you got to watch Terminator 2, and let me tell you what. In the not so distant future, there's a guy named John Connor who leads a revolution against the machines to save the human race. His name is John Connor. Okay, it's very important, Priscilla.
Okay.
All right. So here's what you need to know. John Connor only survived to save the human race because of one reason. Arnold. You know who Arnold is?
I do know who Arnold is.
Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So the first one, all the Terminators were bad. The Terminators were trying to kill John Connor's mom, so that she never had John Connor. But in the second one, John Connor from the future sent back a good Terminator. And that's what this is going to boil down to. Whether or not the Terminators are going to take jobs and destroy this, it's practically inevitable. Just give it time. Give it time. There are so many jobs that will go away, and not to panic anyone, but it's a reality. And you're probably thinking I thought this was a motivational speech. But here's the deal. We have to think like John Connor, which means we have to build our own Terminators. And so as we think about AI, we need to think about, what Terminator can I build? What robot can I use the robots to build? The robots can build a tool. Like, let's keep it simple here. Think about software. Think about a software and app, or like this magic wand. Remember I said at the beginning, what do you hate about your job? What do you hate about your job? What's the most draining thing about your job? What's the one thing if I could not have to do anymore? What's the thing that keeps burning everybody? Why is there this role that always is churning? That's where we focus. And like, if we could build a dream software, I'm not saying that you think it exists or even know how it would be possible, but what would it be? That's where our brains need to go. What would we build if we could build anything? Because in the old days, we couldn't, right? You had to have millions of dollars, and we don't have budget for that, and like blah, blah, blah. And I don't have time to do all that. Because then it becomes like, well, when am I going to train this robot? Or when am I going to build this robot? And the fact is, it's going to build itself, but you have to start by putting some of this stuff just into your workflows. Like, people are like, when am I going to have the time for that? It's like, well, start with your transcripts. Start training just your own LLM with transcripts, because when the time comes to build a prompt for this other AI that can build your software, you're not going to build that prompt. Your LLM is. Everybody's so obsessed with prompt engineering. I don't know why. The best prompt engineer in the world is in your pocket. If you give enough of yourself and your transcripts and your personalities and your conversations and enough questions and, you know, what happened at the end of Real Housewives, and all of a sudden now you have this well-trained chat, you know, that knows Priscilla. When that moment comes, it is very personal what comes out and what it builds. But you get chat or whatever LLM you use to prompt the narrow AI. And so that's how you keep humans in the loop. That's how you become a citizen developer, where you all of a sudden are building something that goes beyond ChatGPT. And that's going to be the key of 2026. And look, in 27, my grandma will be able to do it inside of ChatGPT. So 26 is, do you want to skip a year and just hope for the best and just have it all in 18 months, what we're going to teach you next month, or not? If you want to stay ahead, because there's basically some simple ways you can remix multiple systems together that soon will just kind of all be melded, but they're not yet. And so you have an opportunity to get ahead there.
Cool. So much to think about. Holy cow. Okay. Well, Frankie, we are so excited that you joined us. Thank you so much. We can't wait to see you in Nashville. What we're like, I don't know.
48 days, 3 hours and 2 seconds. Last time I checked the website.
Yeah.
There we go.
I love that. I was like, man, I need one of these for all my talks.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks again. We're so excited to see you in Nashville, and we can't wait to kind of learn more from all that you're going to bring us there.
Heck yeah. And let's meet up. Let's meet up soon. I need to talk to y'all. Lots of stuff.
All
Scott,
right.
let's keep thinking about where we want to land in the future.
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here. I like it.
All right, only by Bravo.
All right. Listen, I'm very excited about this next guest, Scott. Let me tell you, I've had the honor and privilege of working with Simon Curtis over what? It's been over a year now, right, Simon? Over maybe a year and a half.
It's like 19 months. Time flies when you're having fun, Priscilla.
I know, exactly. But we are super excited. Number one, who doesn't love having the accent on the pod, right? Like, let's be real. We love that. But today we have joining us as one of our guests. He is the leader of our Marketing Beyond Recruiting division at Conversion Interactive. He's also really the leader of all of our AI initiatives, which is super cool. And that's really why we wanted to have you on today, Simon. We want to kind of pick your brain, and we know that you understand the transportation market as well as anyone. And we thought it would be super cool to just kind of give you some questions for what we know a lot of our listeners and viewers are kind of curious about when it comes to AI too. So welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me. And so I just thought I'd start by saying, like, if people want a good rendition of my accent, it's the best. The go-to word is raccoon, because obviously it's you say, how do you guys say raccoon? So anyway, I just thought
say, yeah,
raccoon.
That's a great, I never knew that. Yeah, we say raccoon. That's right. That's so funny. I never knew that. Good to know.
Raccoon. It sounds just so much more sophisticated.
It does.
But then you get to know me and you realize it's just the accent, and I am no different to everyone. But I've just admitted that on the World Wide Web. It's my superpower gone. Damn it.
Oh, I love it.
Dang it.
Yeah, there you go. Dang it. There you go. Good. Okay, well, we're going to dive right into it, Simon. And we've been talking about AI on this episode. And I think for me, and I'm just kind of being a little selfish here, but I think one of the most fascinating things in trucking, and specifically for transportation companies to really be thinking about, and I've been talking about it a lot. I know your team is talking about it a lot to a lot of our customers and to a lot of transportation companies in all the spaces, but how drivers are searching is really changing. Can you break that down for us? Like, and I mean, break it down like Priscilla style, because we hear all these terms, we refer to it as GPTO and really being optimized for AI search visibility. But what does that mean? Can you break that down for us and why that's important for employer brands and transportation to kind of understand?
Yeah, absolutely. And you just mentioned the employer brand, which is a real big part of this, but we'll leave that to one side. If we talk about how search has changed, so really the big shift happened in 2025. That's when Google really got their act together with their AI search functions within Google, and then the adoption of GPTs and the functionality of GPTs like ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity really skyrocketed in 25. And so we as a company knew that changes were coming, and we didn't want to just look at, how can we use AI to improve like our service or be more efficient. We really went and said, right, what does this mean for our customers? And that started with looking at your question, how has search changed? So now it's quite a small amount of search is done wholly on like a chat GPT. It's around 10%. Well, it was when we were last together in Franklin, Priscilla, but then subsequently it'll be a bit higher. So you've already got 10%. So 1 in 10 searches are now being done on a GPT. And then over 50% of Google searches, which is kind of like a further 80%. And then 10% like Bing and DuckDuckGo and stuff like that no one really uses. So we have taken the time to understand how AI goes about understanding your website and matching a prompt or a search to a website, basically. So that's I guess that sets the scene. And what people are doing now is prompts. It's all about the semantics. So what people are writing, and they might not write it totally correctly, but someone's saying, hey, what's the best job? I'm a truck driver, I live in Tulsa, what's the best company for me to go to? That's totally different from any other search that we are used to, and as kind of like the market leaders and generating the leads, that's a completely different way of searching. And we know how to, and I don't know how much detail you want me to go into about how we do what we do, but we can make sure that anybody that's using AI to do a search, that your website will appear on it. And then looping back in to the employer brand, we can communicate the employer brand at the same time. And then ChatGPT and the like will take more into account than just what a search does, which is literally just matching the words, the semantics. They're asking for a new job. So that might mean that they're looking, that they want a better place to work, and they understand that user. So they will make recommendations based on more than just what we're accustomed to. And we know how to factor that in and handle it. And the good thing is there's various levels that you can do, and at a more basic level, we've come up with some really cost-effective ways to make some really quite big changes to the website, but isn't particularly big for the wallet, is what I'd say.
Yeah. And I think just as a follow-up, like one of the things for me that seems kind of really important is, we're always, we're over here like the recruitment marketing folks going, don't forget about your Java reviews, don't forget about your employer brand and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I'm learning as you guys and your team are kind of teaching us more and more about this is all of those things are even more critical than they used to be, because the AI is really looking at everything. So it's not just taking, yes, your website has to have the schema and all the things. How do you like that? Yeah, look at me. But I'm saying also to the next level, it's going to also search the web and what are drivers actually saying about your fleet? Is that true? And like, how does that kind of thing come into play?
Massively true. So the way AI does a search is it reads the prompt relatively at a top level, and it judges like the top level semantics, which is they're looking for a job. So then AI will go and find websites that have truck driving jobs, and they will bring dozens of options back, and it actually brings that code back into the LLM, which is where we spot an opportunity there. So we make sure when it brings code back that we're putting little Easter eggs in that code to help. That's really relevant, because you talked about schema. That's one part of it. We have the ability to tell the GPT more schematic information than we could on Google, which is really cool. But then when it looks at that, and then obviously that's where our schema comes to the party, and it shortlists. Then it goes back to those websites and it looks at other things. And one of the main thing it looks at is the reputation, but it's not reputation like Google, which is just based on, what the Google reviews are. It will go and look at forums. It will go and look at the backlinks that you have on your website, and it will talk. And so it has the ability to look at the reputation, which includes the employer brand, but it also includes what other people are saying about it. And that could mean that you could be doing everything right. Your schema could be great, your website could be, but if you've got a load of drivers that aren't happy and talking about something, or you've got it could be anything, and we know how to fix it, because we can track that telemetry journey, and we can deal with stuff. It is more holistic, Priscilla. I think that's what you're saying. It's funny because it's not as wishy-washy as SEO, but it is not the same as paid search. It's kind of right smack in between, and we're not going to talk about it now, but we've got some stuff that we're going to be bringing out in Q1 that's going to add more layers to what GPTO can do to be really create more of an organism, that we can do stuff more reactive. And I won't nerd out with all the stuff that we can do, but we have the ability to put schema in that can be rehydrated when customer needs it, so we can put far more information on your website without it really being there or costing a load of money, which can help with the semantics, which helps with everything we just spoke about. And breed.
Yes, that I'm excited. I think that's really cool.
So for the non-marketing person in here, and I know, Priscilla, we talk about this a lot with the driver surveys and things like that. We talk about driver reviews and how important that is when drivers are looking for a job. Would it be safe to say, and this I guess can be to both of you, would it be safe to say that in this new kind of AI era that we're now going into, that your reputation management and those reviews that drivers have are becoming just as important because it's now going to pull all of that together?
See, now the pedantic marketeer in me says it's always been important, Scott. You've just got even less of an excuse to ignore it.
Oh, well, I think you just put it correctly, because I think a lot of people, those are out there. People respond to them, but in the old, I'm going to Google reviews. You have to say, I want to see a review on this company, and a lot of those things are going to post. But now it's go ahead.
I was just saying, it's Google was more of it was a pinned in box. The levers were really easy to pull. It's like, but with AI, there's just so many. The way AI reasons is it just comes up with thousands of scenarios, like hundreds of thousands of scenarios, and then matches against the semantics, which is the most likely correct answer to your prompt. So what I've just said is a kind of minimal version of that. And it's funny because I was in a car with a client yesterday, and he just got on ChatGPT and just he told his ChatGPT, anybody searching today for his company is, I won't say what it is. He was adamant that would work, and I didn't have the heart to say, mate, that's just a waste of oxygen and tokens. but the point is, people are looking for it, and I don't mind that he's doing that, because he's trying, he's looking, and there's not. AI is so different to digital. It's just, you can't treat it like digital. And what we have been working on, along with everything else, is helping AI and helping the user to connect with each other and understand each other. And that's really been the crux of our work. And you're going to see some GPTs that we're going to be bringing out that really assist with that. So we're here to help. And I'm just going to be candid with you and your listeners. It changes all the time. Like, by the time this is released, it could have changed, and then I'm going to look silly because I'll be like, what's he talking about? It doesn't do this. So I have to put addendums in or something like that. We'll use some agentic content creation.
And the guest that we had earlier, he kind of alluded to that too. Like the rate at how fast everything is changing is something. So
taking all of that into context, let's kind of think about this. If you were a recruiting and retention leader within a trucking company, and your recruiting and retention committee was sold on implementing AI, we've all been scared to death. Everybody's tried to scare us about how AI is going to take over the world and take over all of our jobs. But if you weren't sold on implementing AI as either a process or using it in your recruiting channels, how would you convince them that it is necessary?
I mean, I'd probably refer them to Toys R Us or Blockbuster, if I'm being honest. Now, but also I'll be dead. I'll show a lot of empathy because it's scary. And Priscilla can attest to this. 6 months ago, I didn't have this demeanor about me when talking about AI. We had to figure it out, and we all have to. My advice is, and I'm going to answer the question slightly differently. It's like, just start with whatever you're comfortable with. Give us a call if you need a hand, but to take a view, because you don't understand it if you think AI is going to take over the world. Okay, AI needs humans. Logically, if AI gets rid of humans, then it can't self-prompt. It can't do it. It can't innovate. At best, it's very good at pattern matching, and you can leverage that to achieve stuff, but it just can't do it. Because who's going to prompt if AI kills every human? Dogs aren't going to come on and just go woof prompt. That's not going to happen. Probably edit that out. That's the weirdest word I've ever said on a podcast. Woof prompt. So but it's irrational. And I'm sorry, but it's not a world where we can just be like, oh, you can get there if you want. I don't want anybody to miss out on something. It's not scary. You can do it at whatever level. There's plenty of other companies than us. We are really good at it, but there's other companies. And if you look at anything with fear and a lack of understanding, it's never going to work. So this is about just learn it. If you're recruiting for a trucking company or running a trucking company, you have something about you. Find your level with it. And, I haven't even talked to Priscilla about this, but we're bringing out a GPT for beginners. So basically anything they ask that's incorrect or wouldn't work, it's programmed to just kind of help walk you through the steps. So we're trying to help and anybody that's like, I'm a prompt engineer, come and work with me. Like, you can't teach 8 billion people to prompt in several thousand different languages. So we're just going to work with the interfaces and the vessels that carry AI. They just need to not be scared and just take it and just use it. And that's all you need. And as you develop, you'll understand it, you'll get more comfortable with it, and then you'll crack on.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that's been easy for me to for my old brain to digest is take it, for me, the whole idea of use cases has been very relevant for me. So, and I'm not saying we have a lot of old school listeners, but we might, a lot of us old trucking folks, if you will. So what would you say, what are some use cases that you're seeing transportation companies be able to, and to be honest, it may not even be just on the recruiting side. What are some AI use cases that's kind of like the low hanging fruit that you're seeing folks grab hold of, I guess?
And that low hanging fruit is important. And it's, I know it's such a buzzword, but there's several ways that you can move the needle with AI. And I think one of the problems that industry as a whole, I'm not talking trucking or passenger that we work in, I'm talking, it's people are implementing it, but it's not, there's no change to the P&L, no change to the balance sheet. But at the same time, AI can't just remove everyone's jobs. And there's different conversations to be had here, because autonomous vehicles, like CES was recent, and Nvidia announced that they have now bought out some kind of middleware to bolt onto like Waymo or Tesla in the autonomous vehicle space. And it's not just, don't just think of LLMs and search and marketing. This is there's so many different facets of AI, and operators need to understand more than a bit that we're talking about. And I kind of want to make that clear. But use cases we've got is we've got a transportation group in the passenger and so in the motor coach and chauffeur space. So tons and tons of big assets that use CDL drivers, but they also need a passenger endorsement, which is probably even harder to they're like you. I always say they're like unicorns finding a CDL A or B with a P. But one of our clients didn't want to spend the money, but they wanted to expand their reach to other cities that they weren't in, because they had developed partnerships. And they were like, we want a cost-effective way of doing that. And we came up with a proprietary way, that we could put a widget into their website that when one of their customers goes on it and they're searching for a certain city, if we've got presence there, it's there. So what we've moved the needle is for me to do the research on 500 global cities, or me and my team to do that search, and then find 5 locations, all of which were connected and backlinked to Google with information and images. It took us 20 minutes. That would have been a 6-month project before. So in terms of moving the needle, what we're able to do for clients, and they'll be able to do for themselves, is just vast pieces of work with a lot of manual labor. We can suddenly outsource that to AI. What does that mean? That means that we don't need to pay developers to do that. We can focus on other projects. The client's happy because they just wouldn't have done it. So that's one use case. And then I'm going to use as the other use case, I'm going to use conversion. So we were looking at our traffic in a kind of, I guess, the early fall of last year, and it had been down. And then we did some relatively we didn't do the full kit and caboodle, and it went from having tracking relatively low to tracking massively up year on year, which, given the overarching kind of macro economy of the trucking the trucking industry, to got the highest search results in probably one of the the toughest months, was pretty cool. And that just came from being on more AI searches. Now, an agency is different to a trucking company. We are going to appear on more, but we probably have a different sort of competition. But in terms of two really easy ways to be able to show, now your listeners are going to want to hear about the ROI that comes from that. And we're not ready to talk about that yet, but when we bring out, because we haven't got enough data, but within this quarter, we're going to be bringing out a GPT that we're going to be giving to our customers, that's going to be connected to a data vault and a telemetry network, which basically just allows us to have that intel. We can connect it to your ATS or whatever it is you might doing. If you're a conversion customer, we've got loads of data that we've plugged into that GPT. We managed to get that done this week, which is great, because it's just going to be very game changing. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I can't share what the true ROI is yet, because we just haven't got enough data. We've only been doing this really for 3 months, but so far it's looking good. It's looking good, and even data quality. And we're going to be working with PDA and trying to create this driver journey with data and AI and ATS and conversions work, which is going to be pretty cool. So, Scott, I thought I should give PDA a little shout out, mate, because I'm doing a lot of
Thanks, brother.
Doing a lot
Thanks,
of
man.
conversion cheerleading right now. I got you back, mate.
There we go. I got it. Thanks, man.
No, I love it. I love it. And I think, and that's kind of what won me over. Was obviously when we started doing some work for our own brands, and I was like, wait a minute, this is really tracking. This is like, we're seeing the results. So yeah. Listen, Simon, we are so excited. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We want you to come back as you guys as we release new stuff, because y'all don't want me trying to explain any of this stuff. So
the other thing is, we will be communicating all of this at R&R, which is, I don't know whether I'm allowed to push R&R on this, but I'm going to anyway. I will be speaking, so if anyone likes my accent, I can bring another couple of Brits over if you want for some of the roundtables. But we're going to be launching some of our more kind of, here's the GPT, you go and do it yourself, rather than just it always necessarily being, the standard model. And I think that's important, that we kind of put our money where our mouth is and say that we are trying to move with the times too. We know that things are changing. We know that AI is going to allow our customers to do more. And what we're going to do is just give them something that has our expertise and our understanding within it, so they can do more, even more, and do that even better. So
yes.
R&R is where you'll come and get demos, and we can customize stuff for your business. Have I plugged it enough? It's such a good event. It's my favorite event of the year.
We don't have to do it now.
Yeah, no. Okay. It's great. And this whole episode is great to just for people to get a little taste of what the type of information that we're going to have at the conference. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. Thank you so much. Like I said, next time, come and hop on and explain to us, maybe in a few months, kind of what the latest and greatest is, because I know this is all moving really fast.
Yeah, and it will be the agentic content creation, which I've got a really cool update for you, Priscilla. So we'll have to catch up on it. So
okay,
it's something pretty cool. So search and content creation, and then operating systems are the 3 main areas that we're focused on. But come to R&R and you'll find out more.
All right. Well, thanks, Simon.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Regal Royal Wave.
All right. That was great having Frankie and Simon today give us their kind of take on AI. I didn't really intend for it to be a total like recruitment and retention conference tease, honestly, but now if you register for the conference, some of the type of content that we're going to have, because we're going to be talking a lot about AI and all the facets of it, and Lots of good stuff. We've got lots of good speakers and content. So I'm super excited about that. Annualrrconference.com. If you haven't registered, you do not have long. We really are filling up fast. So be sure and register, book your hotel, all that fun stuff. So thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed today's episode, then give us a virtual high five by leaving a rating or a review on your favorite podcast platform. And be sure and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
And if you got any questions or feedback, you can reach out to us on social media, or you can drop us an email at the email address in the show notes right below there. So we'll be back next time. Actually, we won't be back next month because, as Priscilla said, we'll all be at the conference next month. So we're going to take a month off. So everybody dry your eyes. We'll be back in March with more fun, data, and insights to help you master your recruiting and retention game. We will see you here in March.